You found The Flower of Freedom by Deborah J. Reeves. I'm Deborah. I welcome you here. And I remind you that this book and my presentation of it are completely reserved. All the rights to it. Chapter 61, Protective Instincts. As before, Philip and Bertie knocked on Michaud and Joseph's door, and they opened it immediately. They walked together to the elevator. Marie and Suzette joined up with Nicole and Bianca, and they took the other elevator to the lobby. They were all there by 6:20, and they ran to get their equipment so they could make the 6:30 ski lift. Hans came down at 6:30, and he turned right into the lodge restaurant. The ladies there led him to a table and asked if he wanted the same breakfast or something different. He went with the same breakfast, and he scanned the restaurant as he sat down, and then he scanned the slopes outside the windows. When the order went in, the kitchen took their time. He asked the server who brought his breakfast after a long wait if the group of young people had been in, and she told him that they had not. The young group was out of sight by the time Hans began to scan for them. They left the ski lift, and they entered the restaurant at the top of the mountain, where they were met by warm smiles. The caring ladies led them all to a different location on the other side of the restaurant. They said, seating them behind a divider that blocked them from the view of the doors, that it would block the draft so that they could ski all day. They told the group that they wanted them to experience a different view of their lovely mountain. They were so pleased that they had all gone into town. They loved it when Marie talked about the cuckoo shop. Teddy's, we love that guy. He comes here to eat with his family about once a month. After Michaud ensured that he sat next to Suzette, he headed toward the loo. As he came out and passed the cash register, one of the ladies noticed him and drew him aside for a private chat. When they were there, she beckoned over the other lady. Together they told Michaud about the man who came looking for them yesterday. She told Michaud that they had lied to him to cover their presence the previous day, because they got a terrible feeling when he kept asking about the boy with the strange accent. They said that the older man looked just like Michaud's friend, and they were worried about what the man might do. Michaud thanked them so much for caring and for drawing his attention to this issue. Michaud told them some of what his father had learned in studying the man, and when he finished, they were even more worried. "A war criminal," they gasped. He nodded and he said, "It's an unquestioned fact. His name is Hans Schmidt, and he was head of the SS in Paris." Michaud nodded again, saying that he would be getting a hold of his father later that day to get some help. They were relieved when they heard that. Michaud asked them not to alert his friend, Bertie. He told the ladies that Bertie did not even know that Hans Schmidt was the one who had impregnated his mother in a breeding factory when she was only 13 years old. Resistance fighters got him out of France before she gave birth. That girl, he said, pointing to Marie, was born to another woman from the same place who died in childbirth. The two of them were raised together in Canada by parents who loved them. Please help me protect them. They do not deserve this. The ladies nodded with tears in their eyes. We promise to do all we can. I have to go back now, said Michaud, putting on a happy face. Would you like us to make you a family-style Swiss breakfast this morning? The ladies asked the table with bright smiles. They brought them a wonderful family-style breakfast, not long after the group agreed. By about 7, they were happily experiencing an abundant and delicious breakfast together. They were doing less talking and more eating. Occasionally they spoke, softly, about which run they would like to tackle after breakfast. Just after 7, when one of the ladies was standing at the cash register, Hans stuck his head in through the door and scanned. The lady was prepared with a plan. She walked forward with a smile on her face, and she handed him a paper cup of coffee. "On the house," she said. "I'm sorry you had another wasted trip." She guided him to the door, coughing to ensure that no noise of conversation behind the partition alerted him to their presence. He was happy to be quit of the coughing woman, because he was a bit of a germaphobe. He hurried along back to the ski lift, now that he had seen for himself that his son was not there. After she conducted him out the door and closed it behind him, she noted that her hands were shaking. She thought of her own 13-year-old daughter, and she thought of how far she would go to protect her. Next time Michaud passed by, the lady beckoned to him. "I really want you to call your father from here, because I fear what that guy might do. He was already here, and we gave him a cup of coffee to go when he thought you were not here. I watched him go back down the ski lift, but he's still looking for your friend." Michaud nodded his head, and he dialed his father's office at the telephone they pointed to. He told his papa the danger that had found them in a few short sentences. He could hear his father exhale and push back his chair. "Michaud, I need you to get Bertie back down to the lodge and back to the room. I will get a key to call Bertie. In the interim, Aki and I will devise a plan to get you all out of there. Now listen to me, my son. I love your heart. You have your mother's beautiful heart. But do not take any unnecessary risks. This is not a guy to play with. He is experienced in horror. Take a wide berth around him. None of you are a match for him." "Yes, Papa, I know. I love you too. I'll do as you suggest. We're safe here for the time being, and the ladies here understand and are running interference for us. We will be leaving here within half an hour. But Hans is searching for us, and he's not quitting." After giving his father the phone number of the restaurant, Michaud hung up the phone, and he went into the loo. Philippe came in a minute later, and he said, "Came to find out if you'd fallen in, Michaud. Is everything all right?" That's the end of chapter 61. I hope you'll come back for 62, that's called The Strongest Among Us. You have my friendship as always. I'm signing off as Deborah. Bye.